Okay, think back to your very last class or maybe a recent team meeting. How many questions did you actually ask? Well, research shows that the average university student asks less than one single question per entire class. Even when they're completely, totally lost, they just choose to stay quiet. We are literally living in an epidemic of the silent classroom.
And we kinda trick ourselves into believing that staying quiet means we're absorbing the material, right? Or maybe we just think we're being super polite by not interrupting whoever's speaking, but let's just shatter that myth right now. Silence absolutely does not equal understanding. In reality, choosing to stay quiet when you're confused is pretty much the single biggest barrier to your learning.
So welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to completely transform how you learn by breaking down this fundamental misconception. As you'll see, asking questions isn't about having some innate bravery or just being an extrovert. It is a highly trainable, highly structured skill, and every single one of us can master it to drastically accelerate our understanding. To really grasp this, we've got to look at hacker culture. This quote right here comes from Eric S. Raymond's famous 2001 open source manifesto, How to Ask Questions the Smart Way. In the tech world, asking a question isn't seen as a sign of weakness at all. It's a strategic act of preparation. It's a structured process that actually commands respect, mostly because it shows you value both the material and the expert's time.
Now, when you start treating questioning like a strategy, the benefits are basically massive. Speaking up forces you to clarify your own thoughts out loud, which immediately deepens your baseline understanding. But more incredibly, active questioners see a 40% higher memory retention rate compared to passive listeners. 40%! Plus, it completely transforms a dry, one-way lecture into an actual engaging two-way connection.
To understand this strategically, we can use Bloom's taxonomy as a sort of mental map for our questions. It's like a giant puzzle. This pyramid basically shows us how the quality of our questions actually determines the depth of our learning, shifting our brain's processing from just basic, raw recall at the very bottom, all the way up to highly complex analytical thinking at the top.
Watch how this builds as we move up the levels. So a level 1 question is pure memory, asking stuff like, what is this definition? And hey, that's okay, but we really want to upgrade. Level 2 moves into application. How does this principle apply to a real case? And then the ultimate goal is level 3, analysis and evaluation, where you're asking things like, why is this method actually better than the alternative? I really challenge you to consciously climb this pyramid every single time you learn something new.
Section 1. The Anatomy and Landmines of Questioning. All right, let's dive into the practical toolkit here. Before we can start crafting the perfect question, we've got to clear out some landmines. We're going to roast a few bad habits before revealing the true anatomy of a good question, which, by the way, always has 3 core traits. It's specific, sincere, and open enough to invite real discussion. So landmine number 1, the incredibly vague question. Blurting out, "I don't get it, can you repeat it?" is a total nightmare for a teacher. It shows zero prior thought. Now contrast that with the SMART version. Does the difference between A and B apply to C? Boom. This shows you've done the work, you've found the missing puzzle piece, and you're asking a specific question that's going to get you a genuinely useful answer.
Moving on to landmine number 2, asking for the massive goal instead of the specific step you're stuck on. Asking, how do I use this formula? Forces the expert to basically guess what you're trying to achieve and start entirely from scratch. But the SMART version pinpoints the exact roadblock. I'm trying to calculate X with formula A. Where's my error? This lets the expert efficiently debug your specific issue without wasting anybody's time.
And our final landmine is the dreaded self-deprecating preamble. I know I'm stupid, but yeah, stop right there. Eliminate this begging approach entirely. It doesn't actually make you look polite. It literally just delays the solution. Being direct, saying, I tried A, I met B, and I want to confirm C is, believe it or not, the ultimate form of respect for the person answering you.
Section 2, the pre-question survival guide.
So, how do we guarantee we're only asking smart questions? Well, we need a clear protocol. This right here is exactly what you need to do before you even think about raising your hand or typing into a forum. It's the hacker's 7-step self-rescue checklist. You've got to search the course info, check the forums, read the FAQs, run your own experiments, and carefully log the exact steps where you failed. Trying to find the answer yourself first isn't just a polite suggestion, guys. It is an absolute prerequisite for smart learning. If you skip this, you just aren't ready to ask a question. And this whole idea brilliantly, perfectly maps to a medical analogy we should all adopt. Don't diagnose yourself by guessing. Saying, I didn't understand chapter 3 is practically useless. Instead, describe your symptoms clearly. I did step 1 and 2, but step 3 gave me X instead of Y.
Let the expert be the doctor. When you give them objective symptoms, they can easily diagnose the root cause.
Section 3. The Golden Templates.
Now, if you're still feeling a bit nervous about speaking up, don't worry, I've got you covered. We're going to look at 3 plug-and-play phrasing templates. I highly recommend taking a mental snapshot or just screenshot this right now, so you can use these immediately in your very next lecture. First up is the confirmation template. I understand A is this, but I'm not sure if B applies, right? This is ridiculously effective because it instantly signals to the instructor that you've done the heavy lifting of grasping the baseline concepts, and you really just need their expert validation on that one final elusive detail.
Next, we have the extension template. You mentioned X. How does that relate to Y? This is just a brilliant way to bridge different concepts together. It shows you aren't just blindly memorizing facts, you're actively synthesizing information. Honestly, using this template works like magic to turn a dry, monotonous lecture into a highly engaging, two-way conversation.
Finally, the hypothesis template. If we change condition Z, would the result change? Why? This shoots us right back to the very top of Bloom's taxonomy. It's the ultimate high-level analytical question. It pushes the boundaries of the topic and proves to absolutely everyone in the room that you've achieved true mastery of the material.
Section 4. Closing the feedback loop.
Okay, so here's the crucial point. Moving to the often forgotten final step. You've prepared, you've used a golden template to ask a brilliant question, and you've finally got your answer. But wait, the process isn't actually over. This next part comes straight from the heart of open source philosophy. You have 3 critical post-question duties. First, report your results. Let the person know their answer actually worked. Second, restate the answer in your own words to confirm your understanding and lock in that 40% memory boost we talked about earlier. And third, log the solution. Leave a trail of knowledge to help future learners who are definitely going to hit that exact same roadblock.
To make all of this super concrete, here is a highly actionable before, during, and after game plan. Before class, pre-write 1 or 2 expected questions based on the reading. During class, challenge yourself to ask a minimum of 1 specific question. And post-class, do a quick review. Did I get a satisfactory answer? Seriously, I challenge you to implement this exact algorithm in your schedule tomorrow.
We started today by talking about the silent classroom, but remember, silence isn't a shield, it's a cage that traps your potential. By preparing, being specific, and treating your inquiries as an act of structure rather than desperation, you unlock a completely new level of learning. Turn the phrase, "I have a question," into your absolute greatest weapon. Keep asking, keep pushing the boundaries, and keep learning.